So, we have known that Trump and his cronies um, were canoodling with Russians the entirety of their first campaign. We
Yep.
also know because of the information that's come out about the solar winds hack, which Biden just released a list of sanctions, um, and made a speech about a conversation that he had with Russia, um, and he spoke to Putin and he said we're going to have a proportional response, but we're going to do something. And even the reports about the Russian bounties, the Biden IC, the intelligence community, that Biden's been talking to, have yet to. They've got moderate to low confidence on the report, so they're not acting on that. Doesn't mean it isn't true, but it means that they would need a certain level of certainty themselves beyond what they have to institute sanctions, financial sanctions, and controls on people who travel. And
Okay.
according to international law and other things, there'd be a certainty that you would need to do that. Again, the people who are like, it's nothing there, it was all smoke, is garbage. They just have a standard that you have to match when you get into the sanctions area. You could certainly bring it up, and he brought it up on the call. But they weighed this, several times, and you know, like which ones would have the most importance, and what could do the most damage. And the people that they're affecting are the Deripaskas and the Konstantin Kalimniks of the world. Kalimnik is still there's still a warrant out for his arrest. He is, he's there are gaps in the Mueller report that are directly linked to these missing folks that we can't that we will collar snatch the second they're sitting in the wrong restaurant in the wrong country with too many friendlies around them.
Mm.
The issue, though, is that in terms of Vladimir Putin, a good portion of those people are more useful dead. So and there's a lot of that in terms of how the Russians deal with these kind of problems. I mean, if they're willing to overtly poison someone like Alexei Navalny, and then when he comes back to the country after going to Germany for medical treatment, so he doesn't die from the poison they sprayed in his face,
Right.
or on his food, when he comes back, he violated his parole by leaving the country. Even though if he
Mm-hmm.
hadn't left the country, he'd have died, and they were kind of trying to kill him specifically that way. Then they put him in prison and try to make him waste away. I mean, I don't know how you trust the food provided to you by the state in that situation, and as your hands and your legs go numb, I'm going on a hunger strike, if only
Yeah.
just because I don't know if I'm being poisoned,
Yeah.
much less the need for attention in this situation, bringing attention to this idea. So there were the report around Fancy Bear and Cozy Bear and Apartment 29 and all these cute names for the Russian hacker farms that they use to actively attack our country and other countries around the world, because the solar winds hack that everybody was talking to was didn't just affect the United States. It affected many of our allies and even some of our competitors, because they are on a competitive footing with Russia.
Right.
So attacking solar winds is like attacking. And I mean, the best example is that they I guess they broke into Microsoft Office 365 at one point as well. So they were
Okay.
able to get into the baseline software of Microsoft Office 365. And so anybody who used Office 365, they were able to get around the security measures that you would put in to protect your files, your ledgers, your Excel documents, your internal emails. They were able to wiggle their way in there. Now Microsoft ultimately fought that one off, changed it, patched the security hole. But while they were in there, they had access to every aspect of Microsoft 365, which, if you use the entire suite for your business or your company or your
That's a
NGO
lot.
or your campaign, is everything.
Yeah.
It's your It's your advertising plans. It's the schematics for your products. It's the ingredients to your secret recipe. It's it is your internal diet. It's everything, right? And so think of that breach of Office 365 and how scary that would be for your company if a competitor company got a security backdoor to Office 365 in terms of your company. What they could do in terms of beating you in the market, just on a corporate espionage level. Then think about that in terms of a country that doesn't want you to exist at all. And the scariest thing about the Russian hacks is they don't just take stuff out. The Russian hackers put stuff in. Their goal a lot of times is take somebody's. I had a friend play a joke on me with an email years ago, before I recognized, it taught me what metadata was really quickly. But I wrote them an email, and the response was, "Oh my God, why would you say such a thing?" And I went, what did I say or whatever? And I went back and looked at my email, and it had the initial part that I'd written, but then a whole if I ever find you, I'm going to kill you. And I'm the one who keyed your car. It was just it was obviously comedic in that regard, but it was gnarly how easy it was for them to just go back, change the text, change the color of the text to make it look like the other part of the text, so it wasn't just the reply part of it, because you can change any aspect of a return document in an email, right? And it's a minor thing. Now, anybody who looks at the metadata of those things would be able to see that the person changed when and if they had changed the color of the text and they had typed that in, when that text had been added. All that stuff is in there. You can also manipulate the metadata if you want to go in there and spoon that out. Take some extra work. But if you're willing to put the work in, it's not hard to pull off a fake email to someone, right? Well, the Russians have really focused on that, because their goal is not, and was not necessarily, to help Trump win genuinely. They didn't like the guy. They didn't think this is the man that will run America in a way that will make him the best buddy, so that America and Russia can work together to cooperate on nuclear deproliferation and to save the environment together. What they wanted was a chaos agent to come in and wreck people's attitude towards democracy, so it would make it easier for Vladimir Putin to pass a law that makes him the president of Russia till 2036. That's what it was for. People you want to make people to have democracy fatigue. There are too many moving parts. Freedom is a problem. I mean, the Chinese use the unrest in the United States to great effect. They really do. When they show video of America, it is almost all people burning down targets because of police shootings. And they go and the message is, aren't you lucky that you don't have a choice when we shoot somebody?
Right.
Aren't you glad there's nobody even gets to question what we do? And if you try, you're dead too. The Russians operate the exact same way. They put down these kind of things. And the idea, the Alexei Navalny protests that have happened in the streets have been a very uncomfortable thing for Russia, because they haven't gotten violent and given them the ability to push back. That they don't give them the excuse to open fire on these crowds. That the Russians have to protest in such a narrow way that there cannot be unrest lest the entire group be put down harshly. And by the way, Donald Trump spent a lot of time while he was in office praising that kind of stuff. Said, I will tell you about, Vladimir Putin. He's a leader. You can't argue with he's a leader. Well, that's what he's talking about.
Very strongly.
They don't have gay pride marches. He didn't want them. You can't have them. That's a leader.
Yeah. From
Donald Trump's standpoint. We'll be back right after this. It's time for the news. The House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, will continue with your calls as well. 773-763-9278. Russia, Russia, Russia. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Danger, Will Robinson. Danger, Will. Orange man bad.